You have seen them. The 70-year-old who walks into the room and stops you for a second because something does not add up. The skin is firm. The face is lifted. There's a glow, a vitality that simply does not match the number on their driver's license. You find yourself thinking, quietly, how? How does this person have the years they have and the face they have at the same time? And then your mind reaches for the easy answer, the answer we have all been handed our entire lives. Good genes. They must have just been born lucky. Their parents must have aged well. It is in their DNA, and it is not in mine. And that is simply the hand they were dealt. I am here to tell you that answer is wrong. Not partly wrong, almost entirely wrong. And the proof comes from the one place that can settle the question once and for all: studies of identical twins. Stay with me, because what scientists found when they studied aging in identical twins changes everything you have been told about why some people look decades younger than they are. And more importantly, it means that the face you have 10, 20, 30 years from now is far more in your hands than you have ever been led to believe. Here is the thing about identical twins. They share the exact same DNA, the exact same genes. If genetics truly decided how your face ages, then identical twins should age identically. Same wrinkles, same sagging, same timeline, right down to the year, but they don't. Researchers have studied pairs of identical twins and found something astonishing. Twins with the very same genes can look 10, 15, even 20 years apart in age. Same DNA. Wildly different faces. One twin looks their age, or younger. The other looks dramatically older. And when scientists dug into why, the answer had nothing to do with genetics, because the genetics were identical. It came down to how each twin had lived, what they ate, how much sun they got, whether they smoked. And one factor that almost nobody talks about, which I am going to spend the rest of this video on, because it may be the single most important of them all. So if it is not your genes deciding whether you look 55 or 75 at the age of 70, and the twins prove it is not, then what is it? It is the accumulated damage in your skin, specifically a process called glycation. And the reason this matters so much is that glycation is not something you are born with or without. It is something you create or prevent with the choices you make every single day. Which means the youthful 70-year-old and the aged-looking 70-year-old are not two different genetic lotteries. They are two different sets of daily habits, played out over many years. Before I show you exactly how glycation works and how to slow it down, let me quickly tell you why I care about this so much. I spent a long time studying why skin ages the way it does, and when I understood the role of sugar in glycation, I put everything I learned into two simple resources. The first is called Sugar-Proof Skin, a 28-day step-by-step plan that walks you through exactly how to lower the kind of damage we are talking about today. The second is a companion recipe collection called the Anti-Aging's Kitchen, full of easy, skin-friendly meals so you always know what to cook. Both are linked in the description and the pinned comment if you want them. That is the only time I will mention them until the very end, because what I really want is for you to understand this whether you ever pick up either one. So let me get back to it. Glycation. Let me make it simple, because once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Your skin is held up by a protein called collagen. Think of collagen as the framework underneath your face, the scaffolding that keeps your cheeks full, your jawline sharp, and your skin smooth and able to bounce back. When that framework is strong and flexible, you look young. When it breaks down and stiffens, you look old. It really is that direct. Now, here is what sugar does to that framework. Every time you eat, sugar enters your bloodstream. A certain amount is normal and necessary. But when there is excess sugar, and for most people there is, all day long those sugar molecules start bonding to your collagen. Not in a helpful way, they latch on and create stiff, sticky crosslinks between the collagen fibers. Picture a fishing net. When it is new, the net is flexible and strong. The strands move and flex and spring back. Now imagine someone goes through that net and welds the strands together at random points, making it rigid and brittle. That is what sugar does to your collagen. The net that was holding up your face turns stiff and starts to break. The structure sags. The skin loses its bounce. And the wrinkles that form no longer smooth out, because the framework underneath can no longer hold them up. These stiff, damaged structures have a name. Scientists call them AGEs, Advanced Glycation End-products. And the name could not be more honest. because that is precisely what they do. They age you from the inside out. The more AGEs that accumulate in your skin, the older your face looks, completely regardless of the number of years you have actually lived. Now think back to those twins. Same genes, same collagen to start with, but one twin spent decades flooding their body with sugar and preformed AGEs and the other did not. Over the years, the difference in accumulated damage became the difference you can see across a room. Not genetics, glycation. So, where do all these AGEs come from? There are two sources, and you control both. The first source is the sugar in your own diet, creating AGEs inside your body. Every spike in your blood sugar provides more raw material for the glycation reaction. Sweets and desserts are the obvious culprits, but the bigger problem for most people is the hidden sugar, the sugar packed into bread, sauces, salad dressings, breakfast cereals, flavored yogurts, and the so-called healthy snacks marketed to people your age. It adds up to far more than most people realize, and it feeds this process all day long. The second source surprises almost everyone, and it is the one the youthful agers have figured out, often without even knowing the science. It is how you cook your food. This is the part I really want you to hear, because it is the most actionable thing in this entire video. When food is cooked at high, dry heat, grilled, fried, roasted until brown, seared, charred on a barbecue, it produces large amounts of AGEs right there on the food itself. That delicious golden brown crust on a steak, the char on grilled meat, the crispy fried coating, that browning is glycation. You can see it happening. And when you eat it, those preformed AGEs are absorbed into your body and pile onto the damage already building in your skin. Take that exact same food and cook it gently. Instead, steam it, poach it, boil it, slow cook it in liquid, and it produces only a small fraction of those compounds. I want you to really sit with this, because it is remarkable. The same piece of chicken, the same fish, the same vegetables can carry many times more skin aging AGEs depending on nothing but the cooking method you chose. Same food, same calories, a completely different effect on how your face ages. So imagine two people again, both 70. For decades, one grilled and fried and charred nearly everything, ate sugar at every meal, and never gave their skin a thought. The other leaned toward gentle cooking, kept their sugar moderate, and ate foods that protect the skin. Same starting point, same number of years. But one accumulated a mountain of AGEs and the other accumulated a fraction. That is the real reason one looks 55 and the other looks every bit of 70 and then some. It was never the genes, it was the glycation. Now, I promised you this was good news, and it truly is. So let me explain why. Because glycation is driven by daily habits, not destiny, it means you are never locked in. The damage is cumulative, yes, but the moment you start reducing it, you begin to change your trajectory. Your skin is not a static thing. It is constantly turning over and repairing itself. And when you stop overwhelming it with sugar and AGEs, you give that repair process a real chance to work. You cannot undo decades of accumulated damage overnight. I will always be honest with you about that. And anyone who promises a miracle reversal is lying. But you can dramatically slow the process from this point forward, protect the collagen you still have, and support your skin in looking and functioning better than it does today. And here is the encouraging part for anyone watching who is already in their 60s or 70s. It is never too late to change which direction you are heading. The person who starts protecting their skin at 70 will look better at 75 than they would have otherwise. You are not chasing the past, you are deciding the future. So let me give you the specific changes that make the biggest difference, the things the youthful 70-year-olds are doing, whether they know the science or not. First and most powerful, change how you cook. Move away from grilling, frying, and high-heat roasting and towards steaming, poaching, boiling, and slow cooking. This single shift can cut the AGEs in your meals dramatically, starting with your very next one. If you do nothing else from this video, do this. Second, bring down the sugar. Not to zero, you do not need to be miserable, but meaningfully. Hunt down the hidden sugar in the everyday foods I mentioned because that is where most of it is sneaking in. Read the labels, you will be shocked. Third, build your meals around foods that actively fight glycation. Leafy greens like spinach, blueberries with their deep-colored protective compounds, green tea, turmeric, extra virgin olive oil, fatty fish like salmon. These are not magic on their own, but together, eaten consistently, they give your skin a steady, daily supply of protection while the rest of your diet does less harm. Fourth, protect your skin from the sun every single day. Ultraviolet light is one of the most powerful accelerators of this entire process. It drives glycation and breaks down collagen directly. A daily sunscreen is one of the simplest, most effective anti-aging habits in existence, and it costs almost nothing. Remember, the twin sun exposure was one of the biggest reasons one twin aged faster than the other, despite identical genes. None of this is extreme. None of it requires surgery, expensive procedures, or giving up everything you love. It simply requires knowing what actually matters, which now you do. And that puts you ahead of almost everyone your age. So let me bring this all the way back to where we started. That 70-year-old who looks 55 did not win a genetic lottery. The twins proved that genes are not the deciding factor. Identical DNA, completely different faces. What that youthful person actually did was accumulate less glycation damage over the years, through the food they ate, the way they cooked it, and how they protected their skin. Every one of those things is a choice. And every one of those choices is available to you starting today. You are not at the mercy of your genes. You never were. The real reason some 70-year-olds look 55 is sitting in your kitchen, on your plate, and in your daily habits, which means the power to change your own path is sitting in exactly the same place. If you want this laid out for you completely, step by step, so you never have to guess what to do or what to eat, that is exactly what I built the Sugar-Proof Skin 28 Day Plan and the Anti-AGE's Kitchen Recipe Collection to do. The plan takes you through it one manageable week at a time, and the recipe book makes the daily cooking simple, low-age, and genuinely enjoyable. Both are linked in the description and the pinned comment below. The face you carry into your 70s and beyond is not written in your DNA. It is being written right now by what you do next. Make the next choice a good one. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.